when we were preparing for our final runs in the Culinary Olympics, one of my tasks was to just make sure that everybody was packing things exactly the same. So when you're competing, it's important to make sure that you're consistent and everything looks the same. For example, on our containers, we would always put this little empty open tab on the top and to the right, this little tab here. And I just wanted all my containers to look like that. And that was really, really important for me. That way when you set everything down, and I think we had 600 scaled ingredients for the chef's table run. When you pull out all those containers and they're all laid out the same way, and then eventually when the label goes on, the label is always in the same place. So empty corner was in the top right and our labels were always in the top left. People don't remember is that overseas, in Europe or in Singapore, if you're competing internationally, or even depending on where you're at in the States, I guess in the States it's less of an issue. You can get the same salt from place to place, but different salts have different perceived salinity. So if you're using Morton kosher salt or Diamond Crystal kosher salt, you want to make sure that you use that for all of your recipes and then all the way through to the end. Another practice, is for people to season out of this and then just reach their hand in a million times and then just season and adjust and taste and season and adjust and taste. And that's not where you want to be with a competition. You want to be able to taste and adjust, but you really want to have the approach where you know where you want to be with your seasoning. My tasting is just going to be a confirmation that my seasoning is where it's supposed to be. Onion, you could take an onion into a competition unpeeled, but it's an absolute waste of your time and energy. You're going to want to make sure that ideal is your standard, So we come in, trim the top. And again, depending on the rules of your competition, you may be able to take items a little bit further. You may not. We trim the root end. You don't want to push your lock too far, but you want to take it as far as you can. Ideal is absolutely no peel, and you want to make sure you get the skin off. The more detail you focus on in prep for a competition, the less uh-oh moments you're going to have while you're competing, And you just want to work out those uh-oh moments in advance. You're going to have them, but minimize them. I'm allowed to cut this in half, or let's say I'm allowed to cut this in half, to make sure that there's nothing awful inside, to make sure that it's a nice whole onion, and then I still have a little bit of skin there. Then I scale it, and I know how much of it that I'm going to need to use, So this is double the weight of what I need. Next time I'll try and find a smaller onion so that a half is all I need. And I might go through and pick 20 or 30 onions. Next, I've got my leek. You can trim this, and I'm going to trim this as close to what I need as possible, So I'm not taking in a whole leek using this much, and then I have to deal with this in the competition. Scale the weight, 93 grams. Fortunately, leek and trim is negotiable. It still has some green. It's not a finished shape. I'm going to make sure that all of that root end is gone. I would also make sure that there's no dirt in there. That's something that can be done well in advance of the competition, So make sure there's no dirt. And that way during the competition, it's a cut and move. It's minutes that, allow you to actually plate beautiful food. As you're controlling all the variables that you can control, the evaluators start to get excited. Wow, they really did great mise en place. I'm looking forward to tasting their food, or this should be fun to watch this team. They came really, really prepared for this competition. And that's exactly where you want to be.
My whole goal here is so that anybody watching this starts where I'm at now, instead of starting where I started when I started cooking 25 years ago. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Hopefully you learned something. I hope I didn't bore you with my material. If you like what you heard, you like what you saw, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, stay tuned. I got a lot of really cool videos coming out ahead. If you haven't already, check out my Instagram at glford. So smash that subscribe button and I'll see you soon. I think it'd be really cool if you learned something here today that you think somebody else would find of value. Give this a share And let me know if you have any ideas for some future episodes, some other things in specific you'd like to learn.